Hello there everyone, and welcome to another edition of Lydia's Crafty Corner with me, Lydia, in my little crafty corner. So today I'm going to be sharing with you how I have created these cards. They use exactly the same products, but they do have a different look, just depending on whether or not you use an outline or not. So to start with, I am going to be using the Prettiest Pomander stamp set, and this is such a lovely set. So we do have an outline in this one as well as layers, and this is the image here that you're going to create at the end. So I'm going to start by stamping my beautiful images. So this one here I'm going to be using the outline on, and then the one that I'm going to do later on I'm not going to do at all. So I'm just going to stamp this up using some permanent black, and this is the outline. So I'm making sure I'm sticking this down really well because I want all that detail to be in there. Once I have the outline in place, I'm then going to put in the first layer of the lilies. So I'm just lining that up where it needs to go and placing the lid down on my Misty so it's stuck into place. I'm then going to use some pink pearl ink to ink these up, and this is a very pretty colour. It's one of my favourites and it's very pretty. Did I say pretty? So I'm stamping that into place, and I'm then going to turn my piece of cardstock around so I can then stamp this again. So I haven't moved it off my Misty. This is going to stamp in exactly the same place, and this is going to really help get my layers in place without using the outline at all. So again, that was the pink pearl, and I'm going to ink that down so it's really pretty there. I'm then going to move my cardstock around again, and I'm going to add in the second layer of the lilies, make sure it's in nicely in place before closing the lid on my Misty, and then inking this up using some Coral Bliss ink. Once I've inked that, I'm just going to pop it into place. I then decided I want this ink to be a little bit darker. Instead of changing up the colour, I'm just going to stamp the same colour directly over it just to make it slightly darker. Again, I'm not going to remove that image. I'm just going to instead turn my cardstock around and stamp this into place, again inking it up twice to give me that darker colour. Then I'm going to add in my first layer of the smaller flowers. Now this piece comes in two pieces, so I'm going to add this one in first, close the lid on my Misty so it doesn't move around, and then add in the smaller piece, which really does make it easier that way so nothing moves around. I'm then going to ink this up using some of the beautiful Dewdrops ink. So this is a really light blue. It has a kind of a tealy colour to it, but it's very pretty, and it's one of my favourites that I keep going back to. So again, I'm not going to remove those stamps from my lid of my Misty. Again, I'm just going to ink these up again using exactly the same colour as I used before and stamp this into the one with the no outline. I'm then going to add in my second layer for those smaller flowers. So as you can see, because we're not moving the stamps after we've stamped the one with the outline, we can easily do the one without the outline without having to worry about where pieces are going to go. So I've actually stamped this up using some of the Aqualicious ink. I've stamped that into place, and again I'm just going to twist my cardstock around and stamp the one with outline. So you could without outlines, sorry. So you could do this on various other stamp sets with outlines to create an effect with the outline one, both at the same time. Once I've done that, I'm going to add in my leaf layer. So I'm just adding this into place on the outline image, and then I'm going to ink this up using some of that olive ink. So once this is all inked up, I'm just going to pop that into place. Again, I'm not going to remove this stamp from my lid of my Misty. Instead, I'm just going to turn that cardstock around to fill in the leaf areas on the one without the outline. Now, to do this without the outline on this stamp, it may be a little bit more difficult, but I do find that doing it with the one with the outline and then just stamping it afterwards does really make sense this way. I'm then going to add in all the little center bits to the little lilies. So I'm adding these in one at a time again so they don't move around. So I'm just going to keep popping them in one at a time, just making sure I'm lining them up with the little stamens, and then closing the lid on my Misty so I know that they're going to be in the right place when I do stamp them down. So once I have all the pieces in, I'm then going to ink them up using some Autumn Blaze ink. So I did stamp this once and then decided I wanted this a little bit darker than I did have it. So I'm just going to ink them up again and stamp it down a second time as well. As before, I'm just going to turn my cardstock around, and then I'm going to stamp the one without the outlines. And this is just going to add a really great center to those beautiful lilies that we do have there. And you can see the difference in these stamped images here. One's much more softer than the other, while the other has a lot more detail. I'm then going to use the corresponding die. So this is the Prettiest Pomander Die, and I'm just going to place that around my image, add a little bit of washi tape or masking tape just to make it stay in place while I die cut it. So I'm using my little mini blossom machine, one of my favorite tools that I do have. It's very, very pretty, very small, and it does the job that it was meant to do. So again, I'm just going to take that die and I'm going to place it around the second one after I have the first one cut, run this through my machine, and then I have my two pieces, which are very, very pretty, but very, very different at the same time. It's hard to believe that those are the same colours. I'm then going to stamp some vases. So these are the Versatile Vases stamps, and I'm going to stamp one in black, and I'm also going to stamp one using the Aqualicious. The reason why I'm stamping them in the two different colours is because the outline one's going to need an outline vase, and the one with the outline is going to need a no outline vase. So that's why I've done it in this way. I'm then going to add some water to my vases. I'm just taking the sea glass marker, so this is the artist marker, and I'm just adding a little strokes from the outside edges of the vase, and then I'm going over with the clear blender pen just to give me a look of some water in there. Now I'm going to do the same with this vase here, but the ink is not really made for marker colouring, so I'm going to be very, very light when I do exactly the same as I've done on the other one. It's just going to blend a little bit, but don't worry about that. I'm then going to take the olive marker and I'm just going to add myself in some little stems. So I'm just going to flick from the top of the vase. I'm not going to worry if they do come out the edge, as that will be hidden later on. I'm then going to add in some outlines to these stems just to go with the theme of the flowers, and all I've got is a black fine line pen, and I'm just going around the little stems that we did make with the marker flicks. So I'm just doing it in the one with the black outline for the vase, and as you can see, this is really easy to do. I'm just going around the outline, and it's going to give me a look that these actually were stamped rather than drawn in and then drawn around. I'm then going to take the Versatile Vases Die Set, and I'm going to pop the corresponding die around the vase, and as you can see, it's going to cut off a couple of those little stems that are poking up off through the top, but not to worry about that, they're still going to be covered up later on. So here they are cut out, and they do look very pretty, and as you can see, when we put the corresponding little pomanders on top, it does finish the look completely. So I'm going to add my little flowers to my vase. I'm just adding a little bit of foam tape just to add to the bottom to give it the look that the flowers are further away from the vase than they actually are. So I'm just going to pop them both on exactly the same. I'm then going to add my little images that we've just created onto some cards. So now I have a card base here, which is 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I have a piece of paper from the Our Family scrapbook collection. It's a lovely grey one, and I'm just going to pop that down the side of my card and then add my little vase of flowers into place. I'm adding some foam tape behind the flowers and some glue tape behind the vase. So I'm just going to pop that into place, and then I'm going to stamp a sentiment from the Versatile Vases stamp set with some permanent black ink. Again, for this card, I'm using exactly the same size, so 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and another piece of that paper from the scrapbook collection, the Our Family scrapbook collection. Again, I'm going to add the vase in exactly the same way, with some foam tape behind the flowers and some glue tape behind the vase. Again, I'm going to finish off the card with a sentiment from the Versatile Vases stamp set. And here are the cards complete. I must say that I do love the fact that you can change up the look of a stamp just by using the outline or not by using the outline. So we've got two completely different looks using the same colours and the same stamps just by changing one little thing. So I really do hope that you've enjoyed the video and that you like the techniques involved. If you don't want to miss out on any of the videos that we do upload to the channel, it'd be great if you do subscribe. If you want to watch any more videos now, there's a couple more here that you can watch at your own leisure, and I will see you again really, really soon. Bye-bye.